And we had a conversation with Dr. Quaicoe.
I'm interested to hear that conversation. You know, the EC has been bent on going ahead with this registration. The NDC has opposed it. In fact, civil society organizations have opposed it, including Imani Africa, who went to the 2482's palace yesterday. So, shall we listen to Dr. Quaicoe with that interview?
Well, definitely. And it's on the back of the pilots of the registration exercise, which are starting today and continuing tomorrow.
We're here to speak to Dr. Quaicoe. He is the Director for Electoral Services, but it's also important that we start the interactions by first saying that, look, it's a good time to be here. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning, my brother.
Okay, but for all the related things, what will be your own observations so far about what the preparations have been with the Electoral Commission based on the announcements that you've given the Ghanaian public?
Thank you very much, and I think you can see around that we are busy preparing for the activities, and I think we are on top, and God willing, we'll deliver as we have planned to do.
Now, there's one related issue about the announcement, predictably, for the start of the new registration that we're going to have for the voters register. But you also did indicate as a commission that there will be a pilot phase. Can you take us through what steps have been taken so far and when it is expected?
Okay, once you've talked about a pilot, let me talk about that one first. Once you have the new system, we need to put it to test. We have done 2 tests already at the head office here. So we want to go to the field and check because they have different environment. If it is in the northern section, the heat is a factor. If it is the coastal regions, the coastal waves and the rest are also factors. So we intend holding the pilot in each of the regions tomorrow, 2nd and 3rd June. So tomorrow and Wednesday, we are doing the pilot at the various regions, all the regions simultaneously.
Okay, so
for 2 days.
The pilot is definitely on the 2nd of June?
2nd, that is tomorrow, and 3rd, 2 days.
Okay. But for the related issues about the reactions when the announcements were made, what's the position of the commission as far as that is concerned? We have on the side the concerns being raised by the NDC and some of the parties, and then also after that IPAC meeting, what were the arguments for? Okay,
I would say that we had a IPAC meeting on Wednesday, and as usual, you don't expect everybody to be at all meetings. So the number of people who came, we discussed the various activities that we planned and the taken. And I think 3 key decisions were taken. One of it was that we were going to start the registration from the last week of June to the end of July. That will take span for about 38 days. That's the first decision. The second decision was to tell them about the registration processes. And we have 33,367 registration centers or polling stations, 33367. If we were to go simultaneously in all of the polling stations, we need those numbers of machines. That's 33,360. Because we couldn't afford such huge numbers, we have divided the registration centers into 5. That's why we call them clusters. So what it means is that for each cluster, it is made up of 5 polling stations with a team in charge with all the various kits. So what it means is that if, let's say, the 2 of us are in charge of a cluster, then we are going to work in 5 different polling stations. So then the understanding is that when you go to the first registration center, we'll spend 6 days. Then we'll go to the second registration center, we'll spend 6 days. So we'll continue to a 3rd, the 4th, and we'll get to the 5th registration center, we'll also spend 6 days. So 6 and 5 will give us 30 days. Then in between, we are planning of, when we finish the first phase, you rest 1 day, so that if you have run short of any equipment, resources, materials, you go and retool. Then before you go to the second phase and 3rd phase and there. So that the in-between two will also give you 4 days. That will give you 34 days. Then at the end of the 34th day, we will have finished the main registration. Then the team will look back. When we went to the various 5 polling stations, were we able to cover everybody who came to be registered? Maybe there was some interruptions by, it could be rain, it could be whatever. They will say, okay, we have finished everything, so there's no need for any mop-up. Or because of A, B, C, we need to go to the 5th center or the 4th center. We have 3 days that we call the mop-up. So we use the 3 days to do the mop-up. That will also give you 38 days. So that's how the 38 days. And that's what we are doing with
That's how come you arrive at the 38 days.
Exactly.
Now, the pilot is supposed to be the simulation for you to test, is it the equipment or the process?
Both. Because they are going to start at 7 each day and end at 6, which will be normal for every registration period. And everything that is supposed to be done during the registration will be done. People will go there, they will try to do multiple registrations. It's a form of simulation. So both positive and negatives will be practiced.
But the sample population you're using is not for a real registration, but it's just for a number of people to test.
Exactly. Like if you are going from 7 to 6, depending on the number of people who turn up, how many people were we registering? For one person, how many minutes were we spending? So that at the end of the day, we look out for the kids. Do they have challenges? Can those challenges be addressed before we start the registration? So the pilot is also to expose the kids to us. As I said, we've done them at the national level here 2 times. We call it end-to-end testing. We identified some few challenges. They have been rectified. We are now going to the field again. That's where the main business will be. With the challenges too, they will come and rectify them before we go to the field for the actual registration.
And the actual registration date, again, you say is which one?
I said last week of June to the ending of July. But the exact date, Commission is doing some consultation, will come out with it.
What type of consultation? Which type of internal bodies and external bodies are you doing that with?
We know we are in contact touch with the COVID team. We have met them several, and I always mention they call the coordinating team, Dr. Nsiasare, Dr. Makoba, and Professor Dujemfi. They are in charge of the national COVID team. So we told them our plans for the containment of the COVID protocols. And they also gave us some pieces of advice. So that is the third understanding we made. So that is the protocols. So the understanding was that, assuming this is the whole polling station, as they have done the lines here, so we are going to demarcate, then apply paints, so that when you come, this place is marked for one person, this place is marked, this place is marked. So when you have not entered, you can stand somewhere and be watching. But if you say that the marking can accommodate 20 people, then we'll cover 20 people. So in the next 20, then you come, you position yourselves, so that it will not be that people juggling themselves and tumbling over each other. But before you enter into the demarcated area, we'll use the thermometer gun, take your temperature. The Minister of Health, we are also in consultation with them, with the team, they decided that they will form health mobile teams. So the one who pick the temperature, and temperature is above 38 degrees Celsius, then we'll call them that somebody is here, we don't think he's feeling fine. They will come and also observe you. After they have observed you, they will decide that from the way things are, they need to take you to the nearby health facility for attention. Or, oh, this one is normal, the person should go through. So once you are clear to go through, then at the entrance of the demarcated area, there will be a vertical bucket with soap and tissue, whatever, or hand sanitizer. Both of them should be there. So at times somebody will want to go for this or that. Then you wash your hand and the rest. Then you join the queue. When it is your type, you go to the table. When you sit at the table, you are supposed to go with your vote passport or Ghana card. If you don't have any of these, then you go with 2 guarantors who have already registered, so that they will complete the form for you. Then your hand will be put on the scanner. Once your hand is put on the scanner, immediately you finish, it will be wiped to clean possible infection added to you or whatever. Then you remove the mask, like mine. Then my face will be gotten, the picture will be taken. Then the process will continue. When you have been challenged, then we say that you will be given a day to appear before the committee that will adjudicate on that. If you are not challenged, you are given your card. Once you are given your card, you leave the place. And as you are leaving getting out to, you sanitize your hand, then you go.
There's a critical question about, in a registration area, how many of the system machines are you going to have? So
one machine for a registration center, but there will be space. We are buying 8,000 plus, but we are sending about 6,870 to the field. The rest are backups, so that when there's a problem here, the machines have the potential to come. If you send all of them to the field simultaneously and there's a problem, you cannot, because we don't want to miss the data we have given. So we have enough standbys to cater for possible malfunctions and other things.
I see. All these things you talk about, Veronica buckets, soap, all those things, are they all going to be distributed, stationed across all polling areas?
Like I told you, we have 6,870 teams. So every team will have the full set. If you had been here yesterday, those going for the pilot were distributed yesterday. So we have acquired them. The rest are on the way coming.
There's a concern that has been raised, and predictably, we have to ask this question. And this is coming from Imani Africa about usually if a new system unit is being deployed, it takes some time for you to test the system and then you get to gauge the percentage of success rate. Do you already have the new machines in? If they are in, what do you expect to be the success rate in percentage?
I was trying to say that if you were here yesterday, we have seen us dispatching them to the pilot area. So those questions, I will entreat you to go to the field yourself. Tomorrow you will see it and you answer them. But as I told you, we have done end-to-end testing 2 times and we are satisfied with what we have seen. So we're going to try the field again. Before finally, we'll see how to process it and program it for the field.
Those guarantors that are supposed to guarantee for any other would-be voter who doesn't have a National Identification Authority card or a passport, where should they come from?
Okay, let me give you a scenario.
Is it within the polling area?
The law is that if you are a registered voter, so it's like if you are going to register for WAEC, I mean the WESI and the rest, you have people who endorse this thing for you. So before you fill the form, you know who will endorse it for you. If you are going to apply for a passport, in addition to the birth certificate or whatever, you will need 2 guarantors and 1 witness, so you prepare them. Now, assuming there is a community with only 2 people with either passport or Ghana card, well, how it will work is that we identify them early, then those people will go, if it will be the 2 of us, we will go and register. And once we get our card, the 2 of us can guarantee for 10 people. Then the 10 people that we will guarantee, immediately they also get their cards. 2 each, so between 5 times 10, 50 people can be guaranteed by those people. When the 50 people also have also gotten their card, 50 divided by 2, 25 times 10, to 250 also go. So in a day, to the 2 people who started, you could have guaranteed for 1,000 people. Immediately you get your card, you qualify to guarantee. It's only when you are challenged that you will not be given the card.
The case in court, how is that going to influence in terms of the outcome? What materials or documents you need for registration?
We are saying that we want to go with Ghana card and passport. Then somebody has challenged it. So if the court comes out and says that go by the old CI, the CI is still there, it won't affect in our application. But we pray that we don't go there. So the timetable will not be affected by the decision of the court. The only thing that will be affected is that the proof of eligibility or proof of qualification that will be affected.
I've seen a number of materials already, and I'm sure yesterday you started deploying the pilot logistics out.
Exactly.
I've seen the papers, that's the registration document or the papers, or the forms.
The forms, yes.
Now,
we call it Form 1A.
Very good. Now, the Form 1A, is it the bulk for the large number of new registrants that you have printed, or is just for the pilots?
What we are taking delivery of is the bulk. Those, we have 3 categories now. We have those that we are using for training. We have embossed on them training form. So it's the same form, but you see embossment. So that when you are trained and you get a card, you don't use it as if you have a card. Then you have the other one, which is also for pilot. So you also see pilot written on it. Then you have the one you saw them are the main ones that are going to be used for race, including the one you will use to register.
So it means that you have every document of Form 1A ready, both for training and the real one for the main election. That's the registration.
I will not say they are all ready because they are coming in batches. Some are already gone.
Okay.
We started the distribution, and as we can know, we have covered about 10 regions already. So because we don't have enough space for them, so they come on a daily basis. But our program, by the 11th, all of them should have left to the field.
11th of June.
Yes.
The NDC applied for training manuals, and this is public because we have our own sources, and they've made those training. That letter of request also available to us. Have you received that letter? Have you given them the training manual they said they wanted?
I know I've seen the letter, and the letter went to my bosses. We know we are going to give all the political parties copies of the manual because it will facilitate their training. So to me, I don't see anything wrong requesting for it because when they get it, they will use it to train their people. But I cannot conclude that we have been given, but they will be given if they have not already been given.
How are the parties, after the last IPAC meeting, being roped in terms of consultation, etc.?
Oh, well, consultations are all done at the IPAC meetings. So one after the meetings, and maybe they have questions to ask, they can call in and ask. But officially, we meet and we discuss whatever we want to do at IPAC meetings. But I know after that, some will call for, even though some of them may not be at the meeting, but they will still call you for clarification, then we'll do it for them.
There's a key concern that the National Identification Authority has not been able to distribute fully and even register enough people. And this is one of the main issues not only raised by the NDC but also other civil society organizations. Has that come to your attention? What is the relationship that so far you've established?
Back to our discussion, that if we have two communities, or for one community and only even two people are registered, the two can guarantee for the whole community.
But that's a concern. Is that not a concern? That the National Identification Authority, one of the two principal documents you need, may not finish distributing everyone.
That is why it is not the sole requirement. So that was what the Ghana card, if you don't have passport, if you don't have, then two guarantors. So we are not restricting ourselves to only one source. If it will be the only requirement, then it will become a challenge because people have not gotten it. But like I said, if only two people are in the community and they have the two of the four,
or even one.
No, but it's, two people should guarantee for you, not
so
one.
If it's okay, so if it's one person in the community and the other is in the next community, can he come? Preferably
the law is that a registered voter. Okay. So me standing here in Accra, I can go to WA to guarantee for somebody if I'm out.
You are sure about that?
No, what I mean is that if I happen to be in WA and I have my card, I can guarantee for the person.
So you are saying that me, Roland, I am a registered voter, or I've been able to use the two principal documents, either of them to register.
Correct.
I have my card.
Correct.
I can go on and go to Mankeregu or Elubo and go and guarantee.
So one person will join you.
Once it is identified, I know the person and it's been guaranteed.
Exactly.
Is that not controversial?
What makes it controversial? Because I don't know whether you are from this place. And I don't know, you have a lot of classmates, you have a lot of relatives. Me standing here, I was born and bred in different areas. So I know different people. The most important thing is that I should be sure that the one I'm guaranteeing for qualifies. The person is not underage, the person is a Ghanaian. So that, because if you go and bid for a voucher for somebody who is not qualified, then you are putting yourself into trouble, right? So if I know the person and the person is qualified, you vouch for the person, you can sleep because you know that you have vouched for me and you know Quaicoe is a Ghanaian.
Who guarantees for the guarantor that the guarantorship and his actions are real and true?
No, it's like
who verifies that me?
We don't have any. It's like going to the court to swear. If you tell lies, they call it what do they call it? They call it, they have. There's a code that if you tell lies.
Perjury.
Perjury, good. So you lied. You lied. So if you know that the person is qualified, the person doesn't need to be a relative. You can vouch for the person. But if you know that the person is not qualified and you are lying and it's found out, then you have to answer for
Is this not a recipe for chaos?
It's like even somebody may hold the passport, somebody may hold a Ghana card, and the person can be arrested because he acquired it fraudulently. It's possible. Because you may hold a passport when you are not a Ghanaian. It's not possible. So if you're holding the passport, holding the Ghana card, it's not enough, because if somebody knows you, the person can challenge you that even if you're holding a Ghana card or you're holding a passport, you don't qualify to register because you are underage, because you are not Ghanaian, the person can challenge you.
Now, the NDC, they convened a meeting, a press conference, and they asked some critical questions. And I know that they said the fact that church and mosque gatherings are not supposed to have more than 100 people and are supposed to last for just an hour, but the NIA and the EC have been given the freedom to register an unlimited number of people from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's for a period of 10 hours. That shows clearly that the so-called partial reopening of school churches was a ruse to the president's main agenda. It looks like the president did the...
I don't know if you're listening to... I think I did some interview some time ago, and my personal view was that the restrictions did not cover Electoral Commission. The reason being that today we are talking of registration. What about one day there comes a president? He also said that there's restriction on elections. There shouldn't be elections. What are we going to say? So as far as I think and my understanding is that the law is, Article 46 says that in performing our duties, we are not under the control of any authority apart from the law. And the law is the Constitution. So
you're saying that the restrictions, even before now, you didn't think by...
I think yesterday the president said it.
I know what the president said and the leeway he gave you. You're saying that even before now, the commission thinks they didn't cover them.
But that is my view.
Why is it that you didn't go ahead then to undertake your action?
No, that's it. We didn't, I don't think anybody has been there, anybody from the Electoral Commission has said that we were not working because of the restriction. We were holding our meetings, doing our planning, doing our meetings and what have you. So all the processes were ongoing. Electoral activities are not one activity, it's a process. So all the processes were ongoing.
We have to wrap up this conversation. And we're happy that you've given us this opportunity. But at the end of the day, can you take us through the timelines again? Because there are fears that we may not meet the timelines of finishing the registration, exhibiting the register, and then everybody is satisfied.
So by our program, which we have thought through, and we have looked at all the possibilities, by our estimation, we should finish the registration ending of July. By our estimation, we should use August to put the register in shape with respect to getting the provisional register. In September, we are planning to do exhibition. In October, we are planning to do nomination. And in December, we are planning to hold the elections. All these things are the processes that we have been prepared. The law says that nomination should take place not more than 90 days and not less than 30 days to the election.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we've been speaking to Dr. Quaicoe. He is Director for Electoral Services for the Electoral Commission. And already you can see that the electoral materials are ready. The Form 1A are coming in batches, and the other forms or the documents that are needed for the registration really are also ready according to the Electoral Commission. They come in as and when they have been printed and handed over to the Electoral Commission. The pilot is expected to start, but it also, according to Dr. Quaicoe, will give an indication as to the level of pressure and the extent by which they can undertake this within the time frame that they've announced. Well, that'll be it for now. We hope that we can get a lot more out of this. Please make sure you get interactive. We have Facebook JoyNews on TV. We also do have a Twitter handle at JoyNews on TV. We have JoyNews TV, which is our official YouTube channel, and you get uploads, bits of this interaction right there on social media for us. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
Never.